You come at the king, you best not miss.
You're not locked in this zone 32.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Zone 32 podcast. We got a full crew and a guest tonight. My name is Jake. His name is Drew. His name is Will. His name is Grant. Introducing the 300th follower of the Zone 32 Twitter account. His name is Sway. Say what's
You
up.
can find me at YG Meet.
Shut the fuck up. Let's get into this shit. I got a show to do. My man. I love you.
God.
Follow me on Twitter.
Anyway, do your intro, my guy.
Welcome,
Do it. It's your intro now. You have the floor. I won't interrupt you.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter. I don't tweet a lot, but I do respond to tweets and I do retweet a lot. YG Meech 679. It's a frog smoking weed with a purple hat on, so you'll see the profile.
Yeah, he's famously known as Frog Boy to friend of the podcast Mo. That's what Mo usually calls him.
Shout out to Mo.
We'll tag you. We'll tag you in the.
Shout out to Mo.
Yeah, we'll tag you in the promo tweet.
I think Sway was one of the first people on Ravens Twitter that I met. It was Mo, and then Mo added me to a group chat, and it was Engraven, and we couldn't swear in there, and then we made another one that we could actually swear in. So that was like way back in 2017 or 2018.
England let you guys
Drew.
swear in a group chat?
Yeah, we'd get kicked
Drew.
all the time. What's up?
So when you were like White Iverson or whatever your at was,
Yeah.
I remember the first argument I had with you was about Future's album or something. That's my first interaction I remember with you.
Oh yeah, that was back in my wild, Twitter nonsense days. We used to fight people in that group chat all the time. But yeah, fucking Engraven had a keep it clean chat, and then Haas would go in and fucking change the Avi in the name of our one that we could swear in, and so I'd always go into the wrong one and swear all the time. It was like fun times in 2018. We got a kid. So that kid get like ghosted. Somebody offered him free Ravens tickets to a playoff game, and then no showed. Yeah, Brendan, and then he ended up being a racist too. So that was it's a good time. So we've seen a lot of wild shit in those chats.
Yeah, that's a good turn of events.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Will's in it now, so Will gets to see.
Oh, is that chat? That's the new.
Well, yeah.
evolution?
So it's we had school shooter Gavin was our moderator for a while, and then Devin was the moderator, and he can't be trusted with that kind of authority. So now apparently it's me. So
That's fucking hell of a name. School shooter Gavin.
Do you guys know about Hollywood breaking the chat?
Oh yeah, he broke one of our chats because he blocked me and Mo. So he was in the chat with us, and then it was after he scored or got the 1,000 yards receiving in a season, and I called him like a bitch or something like that. He blocked me on Twitter, then Mo went nuts on him. He blocked Mo, and then we couldn't get added back to the chat because we couldn't figure out how to kick Hollywood.
How did he end up in there?
Lamar is the one that we're in now, I think.
Okay.
Pretty much anybody with opening DMs we had. Lamar responded one time. I think he said hi, and then everybody freaked out, and then he just left and never spoke to us again.
Respect.
He probably gets that.
Sway's a Chibs guy too, so
No.
loves trolling Chibs.
I was a Chibs guy until that wide receiver he swore we were going to trade for last year didn't happen.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah. His sources let Sway down, let me down too.
Right.
There was
Me too.
multiple wide receivers.
Me too.
Yeah, Will and I fell for that.
One in particular, but
Yeah, there were a couple that I would have enjoyed being involved.
now hold on. Just like to address that though, if you think about it, like EDC said, he was talking to Odell last year around that same time. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was true. It just never materialized all the way. So
I think
I don't doubt the source.
The problem is like I feel like it's like the same thing as the Hopkins deal, where we had a deal in place for Hopkins. It doesn't happen because we get Flowers instead. I feel like it was one of those situations where I don't know, maybe EDC thought we had somebody and then just ended up not materializing. Like you said, somebody asked for too much at the last second, which is the annoying part of the
player. Are we allowed to say who the player was?
There was two that he told me.
Well, the one the one specific
DK.
one was DK Metcalf. Yeah,
and that would have been legit. And then they ended up signing him to an extension like 2 weeks after Chibs told us that.
Yeah.
And then Michael Thomas was the other one, which I was a fan of. You probably weren't as much of a fan of that.
Which Michael Thomas you talking about?
The
Saints
real
Michael Thomas.
The real Michael
Yeah.
Thomas? Okay.
No,
The real one, not the we have the fake one still, right?
Yeah, that's Mike Thomas.
There's also a Michael
hurt
Thomas there's a Michael Thomas who's like a safety too. So there's just too many people named Michael
Yeah,
Thomas.
he used to play
in
for the
NFL.
Giants, right?
Yeah,
He used to
yeah.
play
So they all gotta like meet up and fight, and who's gonna actually be Michael Thomas, and who's gonna have to
It
change
is
his name to something
very
else.
it's very the ambiguity of it, especially with the two receiver Michael Thomases or Mike Thomas, because the good one is Michael Thomas, but his is can't guard Mike. So
Yep,
that's where the confusion starts,
fucking
But there's
Ohio
a
State people.
very big difference.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, I think the fake Michael Thomas that we have has more receiving yards in the last 2 years, but
In this decade.
yeah, true.
Yeah, the real Michael Thomas has decided he doesn't like football since the calendar turned over to 2020.
I mean, to be honest, would you want to play with James Winston? Probably not.
He's afraid of COVID. Still wears a mask in his car.
Yeah,
By himself with rubber gloves and shit.
Yeah. He when he takes his dog for a walk, he wears a mask. Can't risk it.
Can't risk it. Not by yourself in a sterile environment with the fucking rubber gloves and nobody around you but you. But hey,
No, he's
do
just
you,
taking
boo, I
medical
guess.
advice from Tom. Tom wears a mask to sleep at night next to his wife. He told me.
Tom's a big
he-
mask guy. He said he double
he
masks most of the time.
He probably does that for autoerotic asphyxiation. He's probably jacking off while he's trying to choke himself. I'm just saying.
All right, here we go. Jesus.
Let's get into it. That's fucking right. Off the rails already. Let's get into the show. So OTAs are underway. Not football school, voluntary organized team activities. And Lamar Jackson is present for it. He wasn't there on the first day. Frankly, I don't really give a fuck. He's there today, and he's learning the playbook and practicing and everything. I mean, he didn't practice today, but he's going to practice tomorrow. So he's there. He's there, and he's participating. He's learning the new offense. So, Drew, can you do me a favor? Can you tell the people, shut the fuck up for me?
The people are Visionless Dave,
Yes.
because they all share some pretty
And Michael
prominent-
Florio.
Yeah,
Mike
well,
Florio.
I mean, so yeah, I guess it's unfair to pin this on VD because it was Mike Florio who had the take first. That missing the first day of OTAs was like the worst thing to ever happen. And, we're not going to win the Super Bowl because Lamar didn't go to the first day of OTAs. I honestly didn't care if he showed up at all. I don't know if that's because there is value to OTAs, obviously, especially with a new scheme. But I also enjoyed watching the mostly 45-year-old white men complain about this guy just signed a $265 million contract and why isn't he at, voluntary team activity?
Like the Nazi woodworker.
Yeah, him. Or apparently I'm a local podcaster now. I don't know if you knew that. My accent doesn't give it away. Yeah, that's what our white hooded pal from a 3-letter blog said. Called me a local podcaster. Said I took some of his words out of context. So, yeah, Grant shared that one with me because obviously I'm blocked. But
that was a tweet.
I just assumed.
Yeah, that was a tweet. Yeah, he said something about Lamar not going to OTAs, and a local podcaster took it out of context and slandered his character. So it was 100% about me. But it's not my first go around with the showman.
Yeah, I don't know if my Purple Panthalytics is going to be getting featured on that blog anymore now. But
I mean, to be honest, it got featured on that blog after I called him a Klan member multiple times.
That's true.
I used to link him and Lindsay together all the time. So I think he does a great. I think he's one of the few people on the internet that I've had issues with that does a great job of separating us. So
he and I
credit
interact directly. So yeah, hey Tony,
Yeah.
Drew and I are still not the same person. So
yeah, I think he's probably well aware of that. But you are. See, the funny thing is that you would be the local podcaster. We're talking about Baltimore.
I'm the local podcaster. I don't even know that Grant qualifies. He's so far out there in fucking the sticks.
Yeah, and Sway and Jake are out in California. So I mean, it's really
No shit.
No,
Part of
so-
California.
I mean, my thing here is like with the OTA stuff. Like, I get what Dave's saying in a sense of like you just signed a big deal. Like the aesthetics of it is first day, show up, be an example type thing. But personally, I don't give a shit. Like he's got a new OC, so I get that side of it. You got the rookies there, but I mean Odell's not there. I didn't see Mark Andrews. So I mean, they're just going over kind of just basic fundamental things. And from the quarterback aspect, it's just kind of getting their arms loose in a sense. And you don't really see the quarterbacks do a whole lot. But I mean,
Lamar can go throw to those guys anywhere else.
Well, he's there day 2, and he was with Aguilar last week in Florida.
Yep.
So I mean, like he's working out. He's he's getting with receivers in a sense. So I mean, like there's nothing to really get on him about. So I mean,
and think about this: the first couple days of OTAs is probably a lot of like processing, administrative
install.
shit. Right. It's like,
Install.
yeah, I mean, it's like everybody's getting back in the building. Some guys probably don't even have their lockers set up yet. You know, it's like it's probably
Basic
equipment
install.
stuff. It's checking in with the training staff. So it's like there's no reason for Lamar. Lamar was just in the building last week or week and a half ago signing his contract. So, you know, a lot of that shit and like guys who already have lockers. I don't know. It's like the beginning of OTAs is not the end all and be all. They're not going to be doing a whole, you know, a big like you said, they're not going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting with the install on the offensive scheme. So I don't know. I mean, he got there day 2. Today he was, you know, he did media and he's speaking very highly of Monken and the offense, and it sounds like it's going to be.
I wish he just came out and said "fuck Greg Roman." That would have made his press conference so much better.
Lamar's above
did.
that shit. He does
Yeah, I
does
know,
not
but
do
like,
that.
No, I mean,
That's
need
basically
somebody to
what he
say.
said. That's
Yeah,
basically
he did.
Yeah, it's a way
And I mean,
smarter and more articulate way. But
And I love that the first day he's there that they're setting the standard of, hey man, this is your offense. Like they're giving him that, I tweeted about it, but they're giving him that pre-snap control now, which he should have had. But we had the Waffle House bandit that wouldn't allow that to happen. But he had full capability to do that. And his dynamics as a quarterback, you want him to have pre-snap reads. You want him to be able to audible out of something or, whatever it may be. I mean, I'm not saying we don't know that he didn't have that control, but it didn't look like it. So, I mean, the visuals of it are what they are. But the second, the first day he's there, second day OTAs, they're like, hey, this is your car. Here's the keys.
Well, and again, that just shows how stupid Greg Roman was and how everything Todd Monken has said makes you realize that he's a significantly better offensive coordinator because he's been able to identify that Lamar Jackson is good at football and he should have control over the offense. Like you have this amazing generational talent under center. Let the man do what he wants to do under center. Obviously within reason. If he, starts audibling and, makes stupid calls in the line of scrimmage, maybe you dial it back. But like you got to give him that freedom before you can figure out if he's capable of having it. So
I feel like
I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad, Drew. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say, like, Lamar being able to come to the line and actually have time to read the field and change the play because there's not 2 seconds left on the play clock, like it was every play with Greg Roman. That's what I got from that too. Is that okay? I actually had time to come up here, read the defense, and see what's going on.
Yeah, and I kind of like that he ran that.
I was going to say to that point, I don't think a lot of my anxiety watching Ravens games is from the close games. I think my anxiety is from hoping they get the fucking snap off.
My anxiety is from Greg Roman is up in the booth and something's going to go horribly wrong. And do we have enough points on the board to survive it? So, yeah, I'm excited to see a new offense because I feel like Todd Monken is the polar opposite of anybody that we've had under Harbaugh. And, again, we finally have like a legitimate quarterback. So why not use him to the best of his abilities?
Every time Lamar's ever had any sort of, we saw it a couple times where they let him, change plays at the line of scrimmage last year, but in 2019, especially in 2020 as well, when they would go up tempo and,
no huddle.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was when he was at his best. So just the fact that option is there and Monken's just, he's again, like we knew this about Monken since they hired him is he's not like married to any one particular aspect of the offense. It's like it's player dependent, it's situation dependent. So he's much more of a coordinator, an offensive coordinator, play caller than Roman ever will be or was. So that's the major difference.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Greg Roman is still unemployed. So it's really all we have to say about that. And he can claim that he's taken a gap year and that it's a personal choice, but nobody wants to hire that fucking guy. Not even Grant's offensive coordinator, position for his Pee Wee football team would hire Greg Roman at this point. And I also think that
maybe he's a run game coordinator.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all like 10-year-olds can do anyways, run the ball. They can't throw. Tyler Huntley can do this.
Roman, didn't he have an interview with somebody like Washington?
Stanford.
The commies.
Okay.
Those are the commies and their offensive coordinator. He interviewed them.
Did he interview with them? I thought it was like he was going to, and then they just the enemy got fast tracked.
Out of it.
Yeah, I think they nixed it.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, and the Commanders aren't going to be the Commanders anymore, if I read the internet correctly today. So they didn't file a trademark on their team name?
No, they did, but they filed, number one, they picked the name and they filed the trademark knowing that someone else already had the trademark. So, I mean,
I mean,
just
that
a
makes perfect sense.
predictable, yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
and it's like Dan Snyder's like, parting gift to them.
Well, and then you got this Saudi oil, dipshit trying to buy the team with this magical like $12 billion bid that nobody heard of before. So that whole situation is like fun to watch from the outside, but what a fucking train wreck of an organization.
Horrible.
It is.
They definitely should have just stuck with the
Football team.
Football team, yeah.
Or they could have, stuck with their original name and kind of been like, I don't know, like there to piss people off. But either way, like anything would be better than the Commanders.
Or you
The fact that you picked a team name, you pick a team name that already has a trademark filed on it. It's just fucking, that's what the Washington football team does.
Well, and like
call it ass
the,
backwards.
the biggest problem now is if they have to get a new name again. They just did this whole uniform overhaul. So what are they going to have to do? Brand new uniforms again too?
Well, I mean, they spare no expense for uniforms and statues of players and things like that. So I'm sure that they won't mind.
Statues, clothes hangers, whatever.
Statues of fucking
That might
exoskeleton.
That still might be the worst statue I've ever seen in my entire life.
Horrible.
Yeah, and poor Sean Taylor. He didn't get shot in a machete fight for that.
Well, let's talk about the nerds that are like buying all these trademarks so that a team can't have it. Like that's just kind of
it's a great business strategy.
Yeah,
it's the same
get
shit.
The fucking payout.
I tried to get on.
Payout.
What is
a lottery ticket?
What's Trump's social media thing called? Truth, I think.
Yeah, Truth
Right?
Social.
That's
some shit like that.
I tried to get in the open beta for that to try. I was gonna go and like make like 40 usernames of just like all famous people to try to get them to buy them off me, and then I got blocked because I wasn't.
I mean, it's not anything new. It's like buying
domain
land.
names.
It's like buying domain names, buying land where like in like outside of suburban areas, knowing it's going to continue to develop out that direction, and then eventually you cash in on that, buy farmland or fucking forest land or some shit.
I mean that's why Zim has 10 acres.
I wouldn't compare buying land to buying a copyright name.
Well, why do you think they do it? In most cases, in most cases, you do it because the team, it's worth a whole lot to them, and it costs you an application fee, and then if they want it, then they got to pay you for the market value. So it's smart investment. But I like it even more when it's especially the Commanders and somebody does it just to fuck with Dan Snyder because they hate him so much.
Yeah, I mean that's the best part of it is it's really just fuck Dan Snyder and anything that inconveniences that guy.
Yeah, well, and it's like someone probably bought or not bought, but copyrighted the names that they didn't like, so that the team wouldn't be able to use them.
Well, look at the flip side of it though, because I get annoyed because I want to wear the throwbacks, but we can't wear the throwback Ravens jersey because that whole logo discrepancy.
No, see that
we can though. We just can't wear the helmets.
Yeah, but that's our fault, really. That's the legal team's fault when they did that whole promotion to get the person. They're like whoever drew up the white papers for that contest or whatever, like the design, the logo shit, just did a poor job of it, allowing the person to retain the rights to the intellectual property.
Well, and they just straight up didn't denied that the guy submitted the logo, and it was very clear, clearly stolen from him. It was a little bit better than his. Obviously, his was drawn on like a napkin or whatever the fuck it was. But I mean, that was very clearly a ripoff of his design. But I think that we'll see the throwback jerseys back soon. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Maybe it'll just be an opportunity for them to do some variation on the helmet. Like one thing, do a purple helmet for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they have not done like a matte purple shell.
Yeah,
something like that. Especially now that we're allowed to have multiple shells, that you don't have to have the just the same old boring helmet.
I'm still shocked that we haven't gone to a matte black helmet as just like the standard helmet.
Yeah, that too. We should give a shout out to Mark, another one of our chat members that Sway and I know. He's a big fan of bitching about how we haven't updated our uniform templates, and we're the only NFL team that hasn't updated it. So
I don't know how he has that information that he just knows that, but somehow he knows that.
He tried to argue with us once that players would not want to be drafted to Baltimore because we haven't updated the template, and that their college teams had better jersey templates than the Ravens. I was like, I'm fairly positive you paid me $10 million to play football. I don't give a fuck what you make me wear. But
right. Yeah, well, and people are still going to buy their jerseys.
Yeah.
And of all the teams, so you talk about like teams that haven't changed the look in a while. The Ravens don't have I wouldn't say that our uniforms are like outdated.
There's not much to change.
They're
on
just
them.
they just haven't changed, but like they're not like like the Falcons uniforms before they just updated them was like clearly those uniforms came out around the year 2000. It was just very like the styling of it was outdated, and the Ravens isn't like that. It's just like a unique font, and it's pretty straightforward. So
I am waiting for us to do the black jersey with the purple numbers, like our quarterback practice jersey. I think that would be really the only update alternate besides.
I've already been over this many times. It's not you can't. There's not clear contrast because they're both dark colors, so there has to be a lighter color to differentiate.
Yeah, outline in white or gold, call it a day.
Yeah, well, they would have to do something to change that.
Imagine those with purple pants. Those would be like your favorite uniforms of all time.
Oh yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But people say this every year because you see that, and it's the quarterback
practice
jersey, and they've been.
I'm
saying
one of those people.
They've been saying it since the first time we saw it on Joe Flacco many years ago. But it's the rules never changed about the numbering on jerseys.
I mean, they changed the kickoff rules so that you can fair catch a kickoff at the 10-yard line, still get it at 25. So I think you can update the jersey rules.
And there's been a lot of uniform rule changes. So I think that one we could see a change there. I mean, I don't know.
Am I the only one that hates that kickoff rule?
I think it's dumb.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
I think it's really dumb.
Oh, it's so stupid. Like
it takes away an advantage.
There is no strategy whatsoever to kickoffs anymore. Now it's just
teams are dead. Get
whoever, like either the punter or the place kicker, whoever can kick the ball further, just kick it out of the end zone every fucking time now.
So I know that I feel like they might take the XFL kickoff rules so you don't have people running full speed at each other anymore. Because I think that's why they're trying to get rid of it, is that you're lowering injuries or you're lowering risk at that point. If you don't have guys running the full length of the field, full speed colliding. So you kind of have guys start like closer together and sort of limit some of that, some of the high speed collisions at least. Because you're right, it totally takes special teams out of the mix.
The XFL kickoffs were a lot about the XFL is good in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a decent amount of it and I liked a lot of what I saw.
I love the 4th and 20 instead of the onside kick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like the the instead of like a 2-point conversion, you can move the ball back farther and get more points out of it.
Yeah, that's cool. And then the onside kick, or not onside kick, but all those rules are
one play.
It's like basically the XFL should just be the test, like it's like the petri dish, like
it's the same thing they do with minor league baseball.
Yeah, they should use it as a lab for NFL. But
yeah, because it totally neutralizes. Like Devin Duvernay could get cut now because we don't, kick returns aren't really a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So like that totally limits his usefulness, and it was already dwindling because he was already buried on the depth chart. So
the way that they have that set up in the XFL is really cool to me because it's like it is limiting injuries because there's less, there's less momentum behind the collisions. But also, I saw a lot of good returns, and it probably actually makes the returns more likely to go for touchdowns if they break it, because
it makes it more like a normal running play.
Yeah,
right, it makes it more like a normal running play where you're creating lanes. You can pull blockers, whatever you want to do. You can stack one side, and it makes it more more strategic instead of just getting rid of a whole facet of the game.
Yeah, I'd be all for that.
The only thing I could kind of think about with it is that because of where kickers kick now, that if they want to kick it in play, most of the time they either kick it at the goal line or come up just short. As a returner, you have to make that decision. Do I want to call a fair catch or can I get 25 yards? And a lot of times when you're kicking just shy of the goal line, 25 yards is a pretty high probability. But if you have a good returner, you could do it. But I just don't like that it's a thought. I don't like that it's even,
The thought used to be of, do you let the ball bounce out of the end zone or do you, field the kick? And now it's just like I would say most teams are not going to carry a kick returner anymore. You know what I mean? You're just going to have some guy who has sure hands who's going to go back there and, fair catch it and take it.
You're just going to use your 5th receiver. Or
you're going to use your James Prochet caliber guy who literally can only catch not moving. And that's what he's made for. He's made for fair catching punts and fair catching kicks.
Yeah, well, how do you practice that on the practice field? The jugs
machine at 5 a.m. from 3 feet away. That's your
run up.
I haven't seen any cringe videos from him this OTAs. I know he's there, but Haven't seen any mountain runs in the morning, and I haven't seen any jug strolls at odd hours in the morning.
I've only seen him in that one picture that was posted in the chat.
Yeah,
And I say in the
fucking-
chat, now there's like 4 different chats that this could be applying to between this group of 5 people, but the one that me, Sway, and Drew are in together, that's the only place I've seen any picture of James Prochet wearing that number 10.
good. They're not putting him out in media anymore. They're not hyping him up to be the next coming of God. So now they're just gonna, send him home. I haven't heard from his uncle in a while either.
I was talking to Engraven about how like last year they kind of tried to make him like the face of the franchise, was like putting like every tweet was James Prochet, putting him with every interview. And then like Drew says, he's like a net negative. He had more, penalty yards than receiving yards. So
yeah, it's fucking wild. Everybody wants to like a late round pick who could potentially be a big contributor, but he wasn't. Like he's just not that good.
Actually, he should like be in the Hall of Fame for the fact that he's still on the fucking roster 4 years after getting drafted in the 6th round, and he's done nothing. I mean, nothing.
Want to know who else overstayed their welcome? Chuck Clark.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he did. Old Mr. Chuck Clark. So the former Ravens safety was traded to the Jets for a 2024 7th round pick at his media rounds with the New York media. And I think it was Manish Bed who asked him about at the end of his time in Baltimore, and he started whining and bitching and complaining, saying he felt disrespected because they signed Marcus Williams and drafted Kyle Hamilton. So, in short, just like Kelechi Osemele when he went to the Raiders, he's a bitch. So,
what is the diminished role? That's what I need to know to start this whole thing off. We can get to the disrespect shit later because I'm sure that was probably all of us on Twitter. I mean, again, just bitching about the green dot, telling him he sucked every day. Like all of them were accurate descriptions by the fan base, but he said that he was, felt disrespected with like the diminished role, but he played 100% of snaps. So don't understand what he's complaining about there.
And still wore the green dot.
Yeah, and still wore the green dot. But again, like Chuck Clark is, if you were to do like a replacement player at any position, you were to talk about who would be like the average guy that you're bringing in, that is Chuck Clark. He's not really good in coverage. He's not horrific in coverage. He's just kind of meh. He's not, he doesn't catch interceptions. He knocks down some balls here and there.
You know what he is? He's like a discount Jim Leonard.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. He's a Dollar Tree Jim Leonard.
Yeah.
He's people say that he's smart. I don't know if he's smart, but he was he clearly worked hard. You know what I mean?
He understands football. He understands the game. Now understanding it and then being able to physically perform your role in it are 2 different things. That's why there's fucking football coaches who
he was willing to eat shit to start off with too. He was willing to eat shit to start off with. He was willing to sit behind, Tony Jefferson and willing to learn from somebody and willing to, take what snaps were given to him and try to earn more on the field. So good for him. But again, where is the disrespect there? Like he's not that good. It's really all it boils down to.
How is it disrespectful to draft a projected top 5 pick when Chuck Clark, he was always going to be a guy who either took a super discounted rate to stay around because he wasn't going to have a great market, or he went on to get paid by someone else. Like that was always going to be who Chuck Clark was in the NFL.
He was Deshaun Elliott. He was Deshaun Elliott. But see the difference between him and
Deshaun Elliott over him any day.
But because Deshaun Elliott took his money somewhere else, shut his fucking mouth, and wouldn't play there. He didn't cry about the Ravens. He didn't say I was disrespected. He didn't say all this nonsense.
It's the business of the NFL, and it's not like the ugly side of it. It's just like the reality of it is not every player who gets drafted is going to get a second contract with the team that drafts him, and it's not necessarily because of his performance.
Well, he did get a second contract, so he was looking for a third.
You're not he's not the guy who stays in one franchise for his entire career. He's just he's always someone's gonna get drafted to replace him at some point.
And no pun intended, but the corny shit is the imaginary chip on his shoulder. Like you wait till after you leave, and then you're like, "Oh, I felt disrespected." Like you said, about what? Like what were you disrespected? Because people didn't think you should have had the green dot. Like you shouldn't have. Like you were the captain of blown coverages. Like you were responsible for majority of our blown coverages the past few years, especially last year. The Dolphins game stands out more than anything. Like you with the green dot as a secondary player, and you're running, McDonald's, 4-2-5. Essentially, you are the guy that you have to know the coverages. So, like, how are you?
And you have rookies on the field with you. You know what I mean? Like you on top of being the green dot, and you're supposed to be this veteran leader on the defense. You have some injury issues, so Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey aren't there. And so you have Jalen Armour-Davis and Pepe Williams and Brandon Stevens playing significant snaps. Like you're supposed to be the calming influence there. You're supposed to be the guy who, tells them it's going to be okay and lines them up in the right spot and explains their coverages to them. And he was never capable of doing that. Again, I said it on Twitter. I've said it for years. I'm sure we can go back and pull old Zone 32 episodes. Like Earl Thomas was right. Earl Thomas was correct for punching him in the fucking face. Fuck that guy. Fuck Chuck Clark. Like, he's clearly just. I don't know what his issue is. It made no sense to me. Those comments came out of left field. He asked for a trade.
Did you see the ball or hear the ball? Yeah,
where
he
just
gave up.
Stood there and let them get a garbage time touchdown. And like my thing with Chuck Clark, right? His value was shown across the league when he got traded for a future 7th round pick.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Not even the current draft. You're right.
Did you guys listen to the Vault this morning where they were talking about this?
No, I missed the episode this morning, unfortunately.
I missed it.
The most interesting part, I mean, everybody has the same opinion, really. Like, what this is kind of confusing why he even did this, but so they played the audio from yesterday, and then they also played audio from right after the season ended for us this year, and he was like, what he was saying then was like, I mean, complete opposite. Like, oh yeah, like I hope to stay here for my whole career, and like I gotta find the clip, but it's like, okay.
I mean, people also forget, like, he requested a trade right after we drafted Kyle Hamilton. So he threw a hissy fit because we drafted somebody that he knew was better than him, and he knew was coming for his job. And I'm sure the Ravens would have honored his trade request if anybody actually wanted him last year.
Right.
And so nobody wanted him. And so again, a future 7th round pick is basically just like we were going to release him, but you can get first dibs on him. Instead of letting him hit the open market, let him have a decision. Like the Jets stepped in and were like, we'll give the bare minimum.
Did he renew last year before the season?
I think it was 2 years ago before the season. I think it was before 2021. I could be wrong though. Because
I was just thinking about Deshaun Elliott. I'm like, I would have kept him a million times over, but
again, Marcus Williams is better than Deshaun Elliott, and Deshaun Elliott was missed half of the games.
Box. He was a dime linebacker. He was a hitter.
Well, again, but he missed. I forget because people were freaking out last year when he left and went to the Lions, and like he was he was on the roster for 100 games or whatever it was, and he only played in like 46. So I mean, he missed more games than he played.
Yeah,
but that's not a guy you want to pay. So like I again, good player when he was healthy. Like loved the attitude, loved the way he carried himself. Again, accepted that he wasn't the star of the defense, but tried his ass off every play. But I don't want a guy that's hurt that much.
It's our Darius Washington times. All that means.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Geno Stone is fine. Fuck Chuck Clark. Like we have no need for him. He's not that good.
Amos hasn't signed with anybody yet, has he?
No.
Oh, he's
60% chance. Like I said, that came from credible sources. So I will. I'll keep riding that 60% until something actually happens.
We still need pass rush too. I still want to see a pass rush.
You want to see Clowney?
I do. So when I say Pat, when I have my love affection with Clowney, my thing is his ability to set the edge and run defend more than he is a pass rusher, which will free up the younger guys in the pass rush situations. But Clowney just does so much that's the under the radar shit. He's like the Jarrett Johnson type guy. He would be in and he does the dirty work, doesn't get the recognition, but the way that he would fit in this defense theoretically with the 4-man front, he would be just an ideal fit. I love Leonard Floyd as an option, but he doesn't fit that mold. He would be more on the rush edge.
And I'd be okay with either guy. It's rare that you and I are in lockstep over players, but again, I'm all for Jadeveon Clowney. And I don't know if this is one of those situations where I've wanted Clowney since college, so I'm just kind of like talking myself into wanting him here now. And I mean, he's not.
Drew's wanted him to be able to cheer for him ever since he tore that Michigan player's head off.
Oh my God! I remember
I
was sitting in a bar.
Devin Gardner, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, it was whoever I don't remember who the running back was that he killed. It was Gardner was the quarterback, or no, it was Denard Robinson was the quarterback.
Like that was one of those
Oh, that's
plays where I remember the exact moment, like where I was, what I was doing. Like I was at a bar in Sarasota, living down there, like sitting there watching, and then just a shotgun went off. It's the hardest
It
hit
was
that I've seen live, like in a game, like between. I mean, it was. You've seen hits across the middle, you've seen receivers exposed over top or whatever, but the power and the raw like athleticism to get off the line like that and make that hit within 4 yards is fucking nuts.
it was one of those plays, when it happens to your team, like every time the ball gets snapped when your team's on offense, you're like something big might happen. You're kind of like anticipating a big play, and then it just completely took the wind out. I was like,
Well,
he
and
might
right
have just
before
killed him.
that, didn't they get fucked on the measurement?
Yeah, it was one of those stupid college plays where they claimed like his knee hit the ground and it really never did, and he reached across. So yeah, they were marked shorter than they should have been, and then Clowney just fucking killed the guy. I was just like, this is when Clowney is a freak athlete and would be a great addition to this defense, and I'd take Leonard Floyd too. I'd take either one, but you're right, Clowney kind of fits the needs more.
You saw Clowney. Well, I don't know. I didn't read the story. I just saw the tweet, like the headline. Clowney apparently wants to go to Houston.
Why?
Don't know, but D'Amico Ryan's, they say, is
Actually,
non-committal.
Well, that and he
That
was drafted by the team. Might want to finish his career with the team that drafted him.
was he there when D'Amico Ryans was there?
Yeah.
Was D'Amico?
Yeah, they played
I
together.
think they played. Yeah, that would make sense.
Wait, no.
Yeah, because he was there with Cushing.
Yeah, but I mean, D'Amico Ryan's right before that left for the Eagles because he was a part of that fucking
2000
dream team shit.
Clowney was was it 2015, right?
14. He and JJ Watt were together, and then Cushing. I forgot who the other linebacker was, but yeah.
I feel like there might have been overlap there, but maybe not. It would make sense if he's got ties to Ryan, so he'd want to go down there. But I think Baltimore gives him the best opportunity to win. I don't think Houston's going to win shit this year.
No,
So,
they're not going to win.
Did y'all see what Jadeveon Clowney said? He said he can't wait to play the Zadarius Smith. He said he can't wait to play the Ravens because he's looking forward to getting booed after he's the one that fumbled more money, basically.
He gets off on weird shit.
Good for him.
Yeah.
and also he thinks that he's the one that's going to get booed. Like it'll be Watson that gets killed that game. Nobody even cares about Zadarius Smith anymore. I forget he exists from time to time. I forgot he was on the Browns until you just brought him up, and I was like, oh yeah, they traded like nothing for him. So
yeah, because I guess he had his presser. Was it today or the day before? Some shit. And he started talking about the deal or no deal, where someone said he signed. He's like, I never signed. Retract that. Give me twice as much.
But see, the thing is, he didn't. He didn't get twice as much. He basically signed a lesser contract with the Vikings, and then they got out of it. So.
Yep, that's correct.
Now you got to go live in Cleveland for 8 months a year. Like, congratulations, pal. You really played that one well. You had to go live in Minnesota for 8 months a year, and now you got to go live in Cleveland for 8 months a year. Like, good for you, bud.
Hey, Grant, remember before we started recording, I told you the Orioles were losing 5-1?
Yeah.
7-5 Orioles now.
Back in business.
Yep.
Hopefully they don't pull a last night.
They probably will.
Here's the key.
Orioles
In the ninth inning, don't pitch to Aaron Judge, please God.
They haven't learned this. I mean, it's every fucking year this guy hits 10 home runs again.
Easily.
Yeah,
that dude's from this fucking country ass town out here, fucking Linden. It's like right next to Stockton. They have a little sign, home of Aaron Judge, when you go into Linden.
Every time I hear Stockton, I think it's Sons of Anarchy.
Same.
Well, yeah, so Stockton's a real place. Lodi's a real place. San Leandro's a real place. Galt's a real place. Charming is not. Charming doesn't exist.
It should.
Well, you'll have to settle in new territory.
There's like that game, 6 Degrees from Kevin Bacon. I feel like we could play a similar game with Jake where he ties somebody back to the, his general area of California.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's another Jake thing. It feels like every episode he's got some kind of tie-in to somebody from, within a 10-mile radius of where he's currently sitting.
Oh yeah,
Brandon Cooks from Stockton.
His uncle got his haircut. Same barbershop that I go to.
Well, actually, specifically for you, Drew, since you're a Boston Celtics fan, they're playing the Miami Heat. Gabe Vincent, also from Stockton. He actually, I worked at this I had to do some electrical work at the high school we went to, way back when.
Fuck Gabe Vincent. They let a guy. They let a guy named Gabe score all his points on. Like fucking embarrassing. But Jaylen Brown respected. The Kevin Millar "Don't let us win today." Quoted that, and then they won. So I don't know. I'm tired of watching sports where I'm like emotionally invested into it, but how to get like a nice break from that. But I will not. The Celtics do not respect my mental health.
Just to be clear, we joked about what we were going to talk about before we started, and
then
said
we did
baseball.
We still
and the
wound up doing
NBA
it.
playoffs, and here we
Still
are.
did. Oh my god.
That's right.
It's like,
that's
man,
why
I never. It's like I'm taking away that 300 follow.
Oh,
Shit.
so he messaged me before and said, "Do not talk about baseball or NBA playoffs. I don't care." I was like, "All right, well, I have to work both of these in." So,
Right.
I saw my window and had to get into that.
You found her in. Fuck it. It'd be like that. But anywho.
Yeah. So just to put a nice bow on this, we think Visionless Dave and Mike Florio are fucking nerds for caring about the first day of OTAs. We hate Chuck Clark and. Basically fuck everybody that's not the Ravens. I'm just ready for football to start at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a different opinion if Lamar didn't show up at all. It's like, and I get the understanding. Yeah, it's voluntary. I wouldn't care if it was the same system. I do semi-care because it's a new system. But again, he missed one fucking day. Now he's here. Now he's there. He's learning the offense. Why make a mountain out of a molehill?
And he's had the playbook. He's had the playbook for 2 weeks.
I get Florio doing it because there's money in clicks. That's what he's doing.
But my whole thing too is like people act like Lamar is. This whole concept that he needs to be there for a week to properly install the offense. He doesn't. Like if we're being honest here, like it's good that he's there. It's good that he's building rapport with his teammates. It's good that he's throwing his Zay Flowers. Realistically, he could have done that in Florida. And it's really more about, developing a relationship with his teammates and not really installing the offense. I think that whole aspect of it is overrated. And this whole idea that he's got to be in the building and face to face with Todd Monken to make this work is wrong. I mean, he's there, so it is what it is. But this whole idea that like that 1 day miss is going to have some, critical consequence in February is just fucking ridiculous to me.
No, yeah, that's lunacy.
Precisely.
Well, there were people that were crying because he wasn't at the football school, and I haven't even heard of that football school until this year. So that's what
I said last week.
We had this conversation.
I've never heard that term until this year, and suddenly
I
people
was listening to a
it.
reporter that was there, and he said it's not even a practice. They're just jogging around in shorts.
Yeah, no jerseys, nothing.
Yeah,
it's weird how. Lamar is the most over-scrutinized player in the NFL. And I feel like any opportunity to – I don't even know if dunk on him is the right word, but any opportunity to point out that, Mahomes or Josh Allen wouldn't do this, like any reporter will take the bait on that because they know it's free clicks. They know it's free attention, and they know that the Ravens fans will go after him, and that'll, pump their article up. And it's kind of annoying at this point.
Strategy is important. Recognize it anywhere and everywhere you see it. Anywho. That's going to do it for this week's installment. We'll be back to discuss this, that, and the other. But meanwhile, it's time for me to die.
See ya!
Zone 32.